Hi, my name is Miraj. I'm starting my new podcast called Miraj Talks, and we have our first guest, Riva Raj, uh, rising superstar of Gujarati cinema, theatre, and Bollywood. So, welcome, Riva, to my first podcast. I'm really excited to have you. It's an honor, honestly sitting in front of you. You have worked in so many films. You have a huge experience. How are you doing?
First of all, thank you for having me. And I like how you like future superstar. You've just written my destiny. But no, thank you for the introduction. Thank you for having me here. And I'm doing great. I have my cinnamon honey coffee.
Instead of professional yapper, I would say. Rising superstar sounds much better. And you are, to be.
What? Professional yapper?
Uh, Today you'll walk us through the journey you have taken, your struggles, how you end up being an actor, from where you started, your whole journey, starting from childhood. I'd like to start like कैसे start हुआ journey, क्या था thought process, everything.
Okay. I think you will have a bit of a context, but for even for the audience, my dad is a lawyer by profession, Viral Raj, but he does theatre by passion, and he has been doing theatre for almost more than 27 years now. Because he was pursuing theatre from Jamnagar, a place like Jamnagar. It was an amateur theatre because you can't rely on theatre for your bread and butter. So he would be a lawyer during the daytime. That was our bread and butter essentially. And he was doing theatre just for the passion of it. No money involved at that point of time. Abhi to definitely things are different. But we have this group called Theatre People. He runs this group. He has been running this group since forever. But okay, so a little, I would start from the big, मतलब शुरुआत से ही शुरुआत करूँगी. Thing is, when I was just born, I was told by the doctors to my parents that I had weak limbs. They were running like, I guess 2 or 4 weeks. Is it all right? I got conscious, bro. 2 weeks behind, basically, on the growth part. So one doctor suggested that you should practice. You should the organ which is the weakest, you should put it to use the most so that it strengthens. So as a part of the strengthening exercise, my parents put me to a dance class, specifically Bharatnatyam, because there is a lot of footwork involved and there's like a certain level of squatting and all of that involved in Bharatnatyam. So I started pursuing Bharatnatyam, I guess, when I was 6 years old, and I've also done my Visharad in it. So I practiced it for quite a while, so much so that for the longest, dancing was my end goal, like a career goal. Like if someone would ask me as a 6th or 7th standard student, my aspiration was like, I want to open a dance class. Maybe someday I'll choreograph, or someday I'll be teaching. Maybe something related to dance. Acting was never on the cards. On the contrary, I was a person who was a rebel, in a sense that I would not, like, I don't like being told what to do, like most of us. And then if someone would ask, oh, your papa is into theatre, so you are definitely going to go into theatre, na? So that will annoy me even more. So then I'll be like, no, I'm not. Who told you? Who are you to decide? All of that would happen. I think there was a certain switch. I don't know if I've brought this up elsewhere in any interview, but I fondly remember watching Filmfare and IFA awards as a child on TV. And I used to love watching Kareena Kapoor, and all the other actors would be like performing like they're stars and all of that, okay? I guess it was the dancing part that attracted me to award shows, but the way I watched them with like starry eyes, somewhere I think that's where my aspirations to become an actor started, because I was like, oh, maybe if I become this person, I will get to be on stage that
Get
way.
all the glamour.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
what attracted you.
I think it's the glamour that attracted me to it,
Okay.
but it was the craft that still keeps me going for it. Because I think after a point you can't be pursuing glamour. I think there has to be something substantial that anchors you or holds you on to a career path, is what I feel. So basically, I kind of sort of started thinking that, oh, maybe I'll be an actor. I did not share it elsewhere. I did not even tell my parents, because I was like, oh God. Also, parents are a bit, my mom especially, she was one of those people who would be like, oh, you want to become an actor? That's a dirty job. Really, like, even though we were doing theatre, but for them, screen actors at that point of time, back in the day, 2014, it was like, oh, casting couch, drugs, alcohol, all of that. I think some people still have that perception, but most of it is cleared after Me Too and
Is it?
other stuff also.
Okay. Right.
What do you think?
I don't know. Like इतना actors के contact में नहीं हूँ, but I feel there is the stigma around it, like for normal people, for those who don't know, for those people who are not connected with the industry. I think you need to clear it up a little bit in this podcast, I feel, because we have heard a lot. Me Too movement भी बहुत बड़ा हो गया था, and like everyone was, even male actors came out and they were like, we are asked to do this, that. So how do you feel like as a female actor? What was your experience in that area?
Okay, it's interesting. I think that's why I asked you also, because I just wanted to know like a general notion. Because right now, I think my family would also be considered as an industry family types
So
family.
I don't have an opinion because I don't want to be biased, because I don't know. I can't keep an opinion based on nothing. I have no experience, so I don't have an opinion, to be honest. But I think after this podcast I will have.
Okay. Honestly, it's not that bad. And as I mentioned earlier,
That bad.
that bad. It's not bad at all. At least I have not had such experiences, touch wood. So the thing is, with Me Too movement happening, people have become very self-aware, very self-conscious of doing things. They've realized that you'll be caught and stuff like that. So they are very like wary of doing such things. That being said, I'm sure the people who do it are still doing it also. But that being said, again, I feel it's also on how you are. I think the way you you carry yourself is the way people also will respond to it, to your personality or the aura that you carry. So I feel, I think it was just yesterday I was mentioning that if you are someone who is very straightforward in a way that your basics are clear, like I want to become an actor, but I know at what cost and what at not by do what should I not do, मतलब क्या करके बनना है और क्या नहीं करना है, that also I know of. So when my basics are clear, I think I'm a little less prone to fall for something like a casting couch situation. But if your basics are not clear, then maybe you should be worried about it. But if I feel basic principles, it all boils down to that. So I think that forms who you are, and as a result of which, that's how you carry yourself in the outer world, and that's how people perceive and respond to you. So yeah.
If you are not like people who are doing casting couch and sort of stuff, they always find the weak people, like with low confidence. They know that this is a prey, isko I can easily target. I feel like that, like it goes for like everything, but it's a very sensitive topic.
See, I would say I'm also someone who struggles with self-esteem issues and self-confidence issues from time to time. But it depends on my need for work. Some people maybe come off in a way that they show a certain amount of desperation which puts them in a vulnerable position.
Right.
I wouldn't say I'm not desperate for work, but I'm also clear that the kind of work that I want to do would not come from the people who are indulging in such activities. Let's just put it that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice. Do they teach you to frame these answers? No, okay. Continuing this topic, how does nepotism affect? You are not a complete outsider. Like your father is a brilliant. I know him. Is a brilliant writer, director, and an actor. So you are not a complete outsider. But how does nepotism affect everyone's career? Like from your aspect, from someone who is a beginner, what role does it play? What have you seen? Any story you'd like to put forward?
As far as my nepotism is concerned,
No, like you're not a complete outsider,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
you're
yeah.
not a complete, this thing. You're somewhere in the middle.
I get what you are saying. Connections that my father brought were majorly for theatre. अभी जो मैं स्क्रीन में काम कर रही हूँ is almost entirely something that I've tried to crack by myself.
Wow.
Yeah, this is something you can ask Papa also. He'll also be like, कि,
I don't. Yeah.
trust me, bro. This is my hard-earned cracked auditions, but no. So basically, how it helped me to not be an outsider is something I would like to connect. जो हमने basics की बात की, I think मेरे वो शायद बहुत पहले से clear थे because मैं उस family और उस परवरिश में से आ रही थी. Now, if I see a girl who is probably not from this industry, whose parents are not from the industry, she might not have a clear picture or clear idea, तो उसके लिए I really feel that maybe that helps to be in the family helps. That being said, in terms of theatre, it is Papa who has brought me into this whole thing, and whatever I've gotten also work is because of his connections. Credit to him for it. Screen work I started, it was my own ambition to like be seen on screen. So that's something I really had to work off, like stand in queues for 2.5 hours. Fit, not fit वाली जो लाइनें होती हैं आराम नगर में, where they are just like, that's where they actually like sit with a gun to shoot your self-esteem. They're like, fit, not fit, bro. तो वो
I think you had a very good mentor by your side.
Yes, that helped. But for screen right now, I'm struggling, yaar, because I feel in that case, तब मुझे I feel यार people who have connections, they are finding work. They get they get production houses who are there to launch them
They
and
have
stuff.
an expressway.
Yeah, it's not their fault. I wouldn't say that.
Okay.
Abhi now see, you've told me, Abhi, if I become like a Bollywood star, then if they get back to this interview, so I'm like, it's not their fault.
Yeah. I'll be on your side.
No. It's really not their fault to be born to someone's family. So one can't decide now.
Yeah.
Sure, they get more chances. They get quicker chances. But sustenance is entirely how talented you are, how hardworking you are, and how you treat others on set, or how basically are you an easy person to work with or not. So maybe they get an earlier chance, but again, sustenance though is not promised with nepotism. So I think it's purely a very, we have examples now. We have examples of people, in spite of being from the industry families, not really working well.
Exactly.
Or not getting as much success as their parents would have gotten, right?
Yeah.
So that really speaks, I think, that your talent, hard work, and how you treat people. Because this business is also a lot about, it's also a very like social sort of a job, where you're dealing with a lot of people and you have to deal with them correctly also.
Exactly.
So yeah.
And I feel because of not because of less experience, because of less talent. First of all,
Okay.
एक्टर्स के बच्चों को कभी कभी काम मिलना बंद हो जाता है, बट आई फील इट्स ऑल्सो हाउ यू हैंडल द फेम एंड ग्लैमर, द wealth which comes with it at a point, like after a certain point.
Okay. I kind of read an interesting thing about this whole thing that you mentioned.
Okay.
I think there's this filmmaker called Aditya Kriplani. He's mainly into like indie films as of now. And I read this very interesting post saying that, and again, that also brings back to how nepotism works in a way. Because he was saying that the kids from the industry are very well equipped to cope up with the stressors of this industry. So, be it the pressure of how to handle yourself under the eyes of so many people, when so many eyes are on you, or be it day to day dealing with people, or be it answering the press or anything, even the fame part of it. So he was telling how they have grown up watching their parents go through cycles of failures, successes, everything. Right. And when they've seen all of that, I think had a very genetic explanation of it. That I think how we behave and everything. So if, say for example, there's like a great grandfather, father, and the child. So to the fourth generation, when it comes down, I think genetics may be.
Boils down to
Because the way we behave,
Yeah.
I'm sure I'm not a science person. So I hope I don't get bashed after this.
No, I'll correct.
Yeah,
I
please do.
understand. Yeah,
Please
Being
do.
a doctor, I understand, because you have
Yeah.
the sports genetics.
Yeah.
The
there
same
you-
way this works.
Yes. So I think does behavior
Yeah.
behavior over a period of time, longer periods of time, does it make changes in your DNA?
Exactly.
It
Yeah.
does?
Yeah.
Help me out with it.
Yeah. So like everything, like if you have, say, sports, you'll have good athletic build without doing any exercise. You'll see a lot of people, athletes who are not practicing as much. They'll have good build. So like you have chest muscles, they'll have a good shape without doing anything. If his forefathers are working the same way, if our grandparents, great grandparents were warriors, you'll have a good beard, you'll have a athletic build. The same way this works. Yeah, so I think that makes
So
sense.
yeah, right.
Yeah.
So nepotism is not just thrown around in a way like this, but like it also has, like they are not wrong when they say कि इनके तो खून में है,
हाँ.
because literally खून में है.
है.
So you can't deny. So I think they deal with successes, failures, fame also.
From childhood.
Yeah,
They have
and
seen it all.
differently. Yeah.
Yeah.
When it comes to them, when it happens to them, they deal differently than probably an outsider would do. So yeah.
Yeah, never thought of it. So, do you think handling media, fame, and everything, you need to put a mask and behave in a way which pleases everyone? Or you can be yourself, you can be Mufat. You cannot have, I feel, that you cannot have unpopular opinions being a, famous person. So, yeah.
Is it like, if you're asking for me,
Yeah.
एक तो first of all, I'm not that famous that I cannot have unpopular opinions.
Yeah. But you cannot say it, publicly. This, you cannot say on this one. Can you? Like,
It just
yeah.
did. That speaks
Okay.
a lot of how I
Okay.
conduct myself.
Okay.
See, I'm not that famous to not have unpopular
But what do you
opinions.
feel about it?
That being said, yeah, I'm coming to that. See, my always there's this mind exercise that I have in my head going on and around. I wouldn't say that I do not have like a public persona. I think everyone has 3 lives, and I think it's a known fact. It's always discussed that we are different with people outside. We are different with people in our close interpersonal relationships, and we are a different person when we are alone. So that's going to be there for anyone, not just actors. Maybe it's a little amplified when it comes to public personalities like actors or politicians or people. I always strive to be honest in whatever interactions I have in public. Does that mean I'll be unfiltered about things? Maybe not. Maybe I'll gauge the audience and sometimes keep things to myself. But that being said, I'm also striving to be honest at all times, in the sense I wouldn't be dishonest if I'm keeping something to myself, even in this podcast. But whatever I'll be speaking, I'll still be honest in that. It's like half-truth situation. But no, yaar, I to try to be as much. I think it simplifies so many things when you're just honest. When you just don't have to put up a pretense. Public persona is a different thing, but that happens psychologically. Like, it's not something I'm trying. It's just it happens. If I'm talking to Miraj, it's going to be that way. If I'm talking to my mummy, it's going to be little on the casual note. And if I'm all alone, it's going to be different. It's not like I'm trying. It happens. We are humans, right? So that happens. But whilst all three of it happen simultaneously in our lives, I just try to be honest with myself, with people around me, and in just even in public interactions like the one we are having.
Okay, that's really nice. That I feel at this stage you can be honest, but I see a lot of interviews and podcasts. I don't feel people are that honest like you are. I've seen from my experience, from what I feel, I've seen that they are not being honest, and they frame answers, and yeah.
You think it's because they get trolled if they are being honest? Is it from the fear of like
Getting trolled and they lose a huge audience.
yes, do you think that's why people are more filtered?
Yeah, losing the audience, losing the the character or the persona you have built, like PR. Like, you lose all of that if you say something out of character.
Understood. But I'm just intrigued. Say for example, you are following a particular celebrity as a layman, like just maybe you and your friends or whoever, okay, and you've been following them, they are politically correct and everything, so and so, blah blah, but you also follow them for something they bring to the table, right? Like you like their opinions or something. Now, would you be put off if they are filtered, or would you be put off if they are honest?
Like, I'll be. First of all, like, they also have these two characters. Like, they'll be honest in some aspects, they won't be honest in some aspects. In some topics, sensitive topics, they don't want to touch. Like, they'll hold back and they won't speak as much. So, I think. I'll just think about it and absorb whatever I feel is the truth. Does that make sense? Like, yeah, from like if I'm following two celebrities, I'll just absorb what I feel they said correctly, and from all the data on the internet. Other than that, like uske verdict se I won't be like, ye sahi hai.
But like, will you judge them for?
Yeah. I will.
You will.
I will.
See, that's why, na. So matlab,
I'll judge.
I think I'm a very simple person. I can't take too much of complexity on my brain, and I think being honest simplifies things for me.
Okay.
Matlab, sahajta. If you're sahaj, everything is like, you don't have
Qurban
to.
hai
What?
Qurban hai uske liye.
Not yeah, but it's like it's all simplified if you are just yourself and you're just honest and you don't have to like
put that CD.
Yeah. Yes, that PR teaching and all of that. And see the fact that you said you'll judge them, right?
Yeah.
I also care about the public judgment. So I don't want that public judgment. So that's why I'm just myself. And I don't try to PR train myself. Also, I don't have the money to get a PR. Right now. Yeah.
So, how do you differentiate? Another question, like, which came to my mind. If you are completely honest and if you are playing a character, right? Do you absorb those traits in your personal life also? Like while you'll think that you are Payal, right? So how will Payal react to this situation? Do you?
I get what you're saying. And it's like that Instagram trend. It's like, I'm so glad you asked this. Just that's what played in my head when you asked it.
Okay.
So glad you asked this. I think it depends from the character to character that you're playing, to the extent to which you had to go to bring it inside you. I think some characters are such that you find aspects that are familiar to your own self in the character. So you try to find the resonation over there. Is that a word? Resonation? Anyway. And basically you try to find the similarities there, and then there are characters where you for a fact know that they are very different from who you are, and that's where you highlight the differences between your own self and the character that you're playing, as a result of which, if there's, I think some characters I understand better from the distance that I create from myself to the character. Yes. And so as a result of which, maybe that character I'll be able to imbibe better. That being said, coming to your answer, I feel such are the characters which stay inside you more, I feel. Because similarities ka kya hai na, they are already there inside you. So it's not like the character is going to rub off too much on you. But when there are differences, that's where you'll be working on the character, and because you know you'll be working on them for the longer time because they are different, so that stays with you a little bit more. And in my day-to-day, I wouldn't say the characters remain, otherwise I would end up being a psycho person, which I am normally, so why use characters for it? Rishabh will agree. So but what you do all the time.
This question was also asked to Christian Bale, and he answered,
Okay.
Do
Yeah.
they ever leave the characters? So, yeah.
Yeah. So, So I feel a little bit of their essence, a little bit of their smell, they leave with you. And I can definitely feel a difference after I leave a process. I can give you 2 examples actually. I don't know if you watched my work as much, but there was a show called Tari Mari Mulakato, which was like a web show, and I played a character called Kea. And this lady she's just every like girl next door that we come across, Kathiawadi and full like chokri types of girl. But she was also very street smart, also very gutsy. Like the kind of things she'll do, Riva would question. She'll be like, guts, bro. I'm not judging basically, but very quirky and very fun.
Okay.
I think that character opened up something in me in a way I had not been before. So after I finished that process, I think I became more, more
Yes.
gutsy.
Okay. And spontaneous?
Spontaneous, yes. Yeah, spontaneous too.
Yeah.
And there was another character in Ram Bharose where I was playing Kesar. And although in spite of like having being born in Bhavnagar and being brought up in Jamnagar and like being brought up in a small town of Kathiawad, although Kathiawadi accent comes naturally to me, but I also realized that my bringing up was very sheltered, very protected in a way that there was St. Anne's where I was studying, there was Sumer Sports Club, so where I was a part of like friends and all. I was not a typical Jamnagari person or not too much of exposure to different areas of the town. But I used to think that, I'm so Kathiawadi. Okay, but I was not. At least for Kesar's character, I was not, because that's a person who used to live in, lived in village and all, okay.
Yeah.
So to catch on those nuances, not only in terms of accent, but also in terms of thinking. And also in terms of doing stuff, because she was washing clothes, bro. I was not doing it. And I didn't know how to use, there was this, what do you call it? There's like a
Bat.
Yeah.
In Gujarati we call it dhoka.
Dhoka. It's called dhoka, and I know context only. So I used to think I'm very desi, but turns out I was not desi enough.
Yeah.
And there's a certain mijaj, or I would say a certain persona that Kathiawadi people have. Especially I've heard it's more, not in Jamnagar, I think it's more Rajkot.
Yeah.
Because they are like full, they'll do, it's a thing ki color karna. It's like rang dikhana types. And they have this very like, very gutsy. Guys are very like, ki, are ek number. And they are very like, kaino ghate. Kaino ghate and all of that. This I was not used to. No matter how I thought, I was like, Arey, I'm to Jamnagar, I'm Kathiawadi. I'm not. Okay. They were way ahead of me.
Yeah.
Those nuances I got to pick up from the process with the people that I was working with. I realized that, oh my God, I think maybe I was a part of how there's South Bombay. I was a part of South Jamnagar. I mean, I don't want to sound elitist at all, but I really realized the differences in my bringing up and the way rest of the Saurashtra is.
Yeah.
Because then I also got to work in Gir and Junagadh and Porbandar, a little bit everywhere. And I happened to visit Veeraval and all of other Veeraval. What am I saying? Yeah, see, Veeraval and Veeraval. That's the difference. It's like some people, they call Ahmedabad and Ahmedabad.
Yeah.
That's the difference, you know. So yeah, that was very different experience for me. And again, it opened a side to me, or it channelized me in a way I didn't know that. Okay, this could also be me. Vaise. So I don't know if you watched this film called Avesham, which released this year. Fahad Fazil.
Yeah.
Yeah, you've watched it?
Fahad's Avesham? What was it? No. I have just watched the song. Yeah.
Illuminati.
Yeah.
So he plays this character called Ranga.
Okay.
And he, like the name says, Ranga, he's full of color and full like, all of that he is, okay.
Yeah.
I think playing Kesar and working with, not just playing Kesar, I would say working in that process channelized that Ranga side of me, I would say. Like that tani. What we use in Gujarati, that tani. That tani, I was never that, I think now I'm that Kathiawadi male. It was like, arey bhai, all of that, yeah.
Right. So that, so you absorb a lot of traits from that, right? Now you...
Yeah, it stayed with me.
Okay.
To answer your question, if it stays with you, such sort of things or such nuances open up a side of me which I didn't know existed, and they stay with me.
So like, does that help you to become a better actor? Being on the uncomfortable side and opening up the characteristics which you don't have in your normal life, or you are more comfortable doing characters which are more you, basically?
Oh yeah, no. I definitely feel that the reason I've taken up acting and the reason I continue to choose this career path is because it makes me uncomfortable in terms of characters, not uncomfortable कि अरे यार 2 घंटे भीड़ में खड़े रहना, that uncomfortable I don't like, but I like the discomfort that characters bring with them because it lengthens my character, it opens up new aspects which I didn't know existed in me. There's this concept of lengthening of perception also.
Okay, I don't know about that.
I think Rishabh is gonna get tired because I've spoken to him about this like 3rd time now it's going to be. But there's this theory we used to study I've done my literature, I've done my bachelor's in literature. We used to study this theory which was called lengthening of perception, in a sense that everything is a copy of a copy of a copy. And I think it was Plato who said this. So basically the theory goes like that: if there's a tomato, okay, now if a painter sees the tomato and he's painting that tomato, it's not the tomato, but it's his perception of tomato, right? Now if a poet, say for example Wordsworth, has written a poem on tomatoes, by the way, you can look up that poem. He writes a poem based on that painting. So basically it's his perception of the painting and not of the original tomato. Okay, and when we are reading it, Now that's where the lengthening of perception comes in actually. When we are reading that poem on tomatoes, maybe tomatoes were just another thing in our daily life. But when you come across a piece of art, it forces you to think about things, right? It lengthens. You gave that 5 minutes to tomatoes because you are reading that poem about tomatoes. I think with acting, when I get to play characters which create certain sort of discomfort, I am pushed to think about traits. I am pushed to think about nuances, which otherwise in my day to day life I would have not paid attention to.
Right.
Yeah?
Yeah.
So,
So you
so
it's like looking at one thing from different angles. Like if
angles.
this is a mic, you
Yes, and I enjoy doing that honestly. I like the whole exercise of like decoding, be it the character or be it how this character will conceive a scene.
okay.
I like the process of how will we decode this for the screen? How will we decode this for theater? I love that process. Unfortunately, we don't get to do it too often. And I always keep quoting this that in acting there is a lot of ting, there is very little act. But I love that act part of it. And for that I am ready to do the fluff part of it, the ting part of it.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
Because you have studied literature,
Yeah.
is that a perk which you have and you use in acting, or like every actor is like this? Like, of course, there are different sorts of actors, but do you think that is a perk for you?
For sure, I feel even when there was a decision to be made on what should I pursue for my bachelor's, because acting was one thing I wanted to do anyway. It was just a matter of backup ke liye kuch kar le types. So I chose, instead of choosing any other thing, any other degree, I chose literature was because the more stories you expose yourself to, the more characters you expose yourself to, it's better because you will become, actors feed on people, right? So essentially when you're reading a story, you're reading up so many characters, you're reading up about situations, feelings, emotions, all of that, how different people react differently, respond differently. So all of this helps, and I feel as an actor, everything counts. This conversation we are having right now, that counts too. I mean, because maybe if I'll observe you right now
Yeah.
or something, or well, I know this is a very basic thing.
Yeah,
I think
yeah.
all actors do that. But all in all, it boils down to actors feed on people. So even a good thespian or even a good mentor would tell you this, that watch as many movies as you can, watch as many live performances as you can. Live performances can be plays, can be dance, can be music, because you wouldn't know what will tick.
Yeah.
Okay, so when a certain character is given to you, maybe you can figure out what makes them tick, because
Yeah.
you have so much of context
Exactly.
inside your head.
Yeah.
So, and my father always used to say this, that all of these are just seeds. You never know what's growing inside you. So you keep planting all the time. So even if I was not pursuing literature, and even for actors who have not pursued literature, I know for a fact that they maybe they're engineers or doctors and all, they would still be interested in life.
Yeah.
You know, that basic interest in life. They would read up a lot. In general in life, they would be interested. They would read up that 5-minute poem on tomatoes. They'll be interested in all of that, you know. That really helps. And I'm sorry, I would like to come back to the question that you asked before this, that do you like to play the characters that bring change in you? I think I would like to connect it to this answer, that I for sure like that, because see, now I told you about how that process changed me, okay? I feel it expands your personality, it expands your character.
Right.
As in Riva expands every time she does a process. So that discomfort I love, because I expand, and then I know that maybe when I'm going to take up something else, that's an expanded version of me which is going to take up that, you know.
Wow.
So I love the expansion that discomfort creates, for sure.
Okay.
Yes.
Wow. not every actor absorbs and observes people. Also, I'd like to connect to that part, that you need to watch as many movies and everything you can. I feel you also need to observe people around you, meet as many people as you can, and observe. Like the basic was for me was mimicry.
Yeah, I agree.
From childhood, I used to do mimicries, and uh, after that, when I uh, got into theater, I used to use those traits and the way they speak, they walk. I always used to have that because at that time we didn't have YouTube and anything.
Yeah,
So
right.
I feel observing people is also a very important part of it. Do you do that? Like observe people, and if there is a desi Kathiawadi character, you observe someone and.
Yeah, yeah. I just mentioned, right,
Yeah,
that actors feed on people.
yeah.
And I mentioned how I'll be observing you doing during the podcast. It's a very basic
This
thing.
is,
So,
yeah, I'll
yeah.
edit it out.
Yeah, but I really liked how you brought out the topic of how you like mimicking people.
Yeah.
For the longest, I used to think that I can act well, but I cannot mimic people. Okay.
Okay.
Uh, but lately, I've come to realize that actors inherently have this chul inside them to kind of sort of mimic someone they've seen.
Yeah.
And for the longest, I was like, "Ki I can do a Riva of how Riva thinks this character would be played, but I can't do like a bang on impression of, oh, this is how this person speaks, or I cannot mimic, but I can act.
Okay.
Uh, I wouldn't say I can still mimic, but I have a newfound love for, like, I observe people and I just have to do it then. Somehow I have to express it also. I've started, like, this person was speaking this way. So I feel like doing it sometimes, but it's a very newfound thing. Can you? I just got very interested because you mentioned about your acting journey.
Yeah.
एक तो first of all, I just got interested that what was it mimicking to acting, or was it because you were into acting you got into liking mimicking people?
No. Because of mimicry, I got into acting. I was good at mimicry back when I was 8 or 9. Then my mom introduced me to Viral sir, and that's how I went into summer camps and everything. Then I played negative roles and comic characters. I was more comfortable doing it because that's how I was. That's why I asked you that question. That are you comfortable, going outside? I never played a hero, a good person. As always, the sidekick and comic character, or I always got a negative role. I don't know why.
Start thinking, bro.
शायद मैं
Okay.
बुरा आदमी हूँ. I don't know, but I was better at it. Let's say.
And you enjoyed it better. Oh, okay. Okay.
So
But then it's a win-win situation.
Yeah.
Director gets what they want. Actor is also enjoying.
yeah, but after
Did you ever think of playing like leads or?
yeah, I got once, but फिर उसी टाइम पे मेरी एग्जाम्स थी, so so I couldn't play that character. After 10th, I think I completely left the whole acting part. Yeah, because of studies. फिर टाइम ही नहीं मिला ऑनेस्टली. एक चांस था हीरो बनने का. व्हेन आई वाज डूइंग माय बैचलर्स आई गॉट अ रोमांटिक हीरो रोल. I was not comfortable honestly doing that, but yeah, उसमें भी I got my exams, so they had to postpone that and cancel it basically. So that's why I asked you that question, that I don't know, I was not comfortable. Yeah, but I really enjoyed your perception of it. You know, how you perceive it and expand your own, push your own boundaries and your.
Extension of personality of sorts. I was, can I like ask one more question? I was just intrigued. Because you said you left acting because of studies and stuff like that, and now you're like a proper full-time medical practitioner. So, what was are you enjoying what you're doing right now, or did you enjoy like? I know you would have like reference as a child. Adulthood, may you wouldn't have a reference of acting, but would you think of pursuing it, or are you like, what's the scenario? Are you enjoying this better?
Enjoying it right now because I feel this has a, for me, this has a very deep meaning. Like saving and helping people is what I enjoy right now. Also, I still do mimicry of my patients. I have that in me still.
Save them, but mimic them.
Yeah. Roast them sometimes. But no, I think that helped me a lot to build up my character, how I take things lightly, keep it light in the hospital, my OPD, everything. They are two characters, running hand in hand in my life. I feel.
Right. How we spoke of like being like a people's person, and
Yeah,
how we are.
yeah,
Yeah. I guess it should be different for different careers also.
exactly. Yeah, we don't need to, in a way, I cannot be completely honest to the patient sometimes. I have to keep them in dark, tell lies, and treat them sometimes for their own good.
Okay.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
now
yeah.
I know why you get bad, bad guys or side.
I'm not doing
Liar.
another podcast with an actor.
Now I know why you get villain parts and all.
But it's it's for their own good.
That's what the villains also think. Every villain thinks this way.
Yeah.
No. Sorry. All of these are just jokes.
Yeah, that's right. I'm surely going to edit this.
Miraj is a good person, guys. He's a good person. I was just. It was in jest. It was humor.
Okay, let's.
Not gonna let him know. It's for his own good. No. I'm sorry.
yeah,
I
that's
just ruined your train of thought, I think.
Yeah.
Please go ahead.
Let's talk about struggles of Mumbai.
Oh.
Obviously, you are like,
Don't get me started.
how is life in Mumbai as an actor? And our people, like, I've been there, I've stayed there for my internship, so I know people, but I don't know the industry side of it. So, break it down for us.
Okay. I think my first answer would start from like, oh, by the way, I think, oh yeah, maybe, whatever, sorry, the loud thinking. I think we were speaking of how I got into acting. So I had actor aspirations, then I joined Papa's workshops and everything, right? And I knew for a fact that Jamnagar, I won't get exposure as we spoke. I think it has been inherent in me, somewhere I never realized, but I always wanted to be uncomfortable because I was like, Jamnagar mein to there's no growth. I want to go to Bombay to study, and I had always seen Mitabai drama team doing very well everywhere. That when we would participate from theatre people Jamnagar in Bombay, we would see Mitabai drama team kids doing like amazing at intercollegiate and like state whatever, like one act play competitions. So I knew that I wanted to be part of the Mitabai drama team, for which I'll have to take admission in Mitabai anyhow. And that's how I got into the college. I was doing theatre only majorly in the college drama team, as well as outside I was doing experimental and commercial and everything. But I had those Filmfare ka screen aspirations were there, and I for a fact knew ki one wants to work in screen to be there. I've never shared about this Filmfare, me watching Filmfare and getting an idea anywhere. I think it's you only, but yeah. So after college, our college used to get over by 10:30, 11 o'clock. Me and a couple of other friends with same aspirations, we would go to Aram Nagar. These were the days pre-lockdown. So there used to be like 2 hours line, 2.5 hours line, and mostly they would be open auditions for ads basically. And for ads, they are very specific when it comes to looks. Like they have a very specific look in their mind, and if you don't fit, you don't fit. And it's as practical as that. But the 18-year-old me didn't have the idea of this whole thing, right? And the 18-year-old me took those rejections very personally, because I felt, oh my god, I'm not, but they didn't even, so my turn would come like essentially after 2 hours of standing in dhoop with makeup and all of that, costume and all of that, and we would go and they would see and they will scan you from up to down, down to up, and they'll be like, not fit. And that would break me from inside, because I'm like, but 10 seconds to give me a chance to act. I have not spoken a word. I want to act at least, then reject me. It makes sense that you don't like the acting, you don't want me to like. It was very later on, in fact very recently, I realized that it's never the acting that they are looking out. It is acting after a certain point, but their initial mode of selection is based on does this person fit in this look, in this character for the ad. It's like, to give you a few examples, it's going to be like fair, upmarket, classy. There is one look. Okay. Then there is like a nerdy, quirky look. Okay. The specifications come as should have specs, curly hair, short hair, blunt cut, bob cut. Then there is like a full, they have like a junky sort of a vibe going on. So they'll be like tattoos, piercings, colored hair are welcome. So that's the looks they are going. Those are the kind of...
It's like that specific.
Yeah. So they have like tropes basically. It's all like in those classy, upmarket, quirky, nerdy, all of that. Okay, so they have that, and long formats, I'm pretty sure that it's not the looks that they go after. I think, okay, for sure, for the starters, basic character brief is there that, okay, we need someone who's like so and so tall, we need someone who's short or whatever. But other than that, they would rather let you have audition for them and then decide. Okay. Now this was pre-lockdown. We used to stand in lines and get rejected and all of that. Cut to lockdown happened. I'm sorry. Lockdown happened, and now the easier part is that you can just send your pictures. So that saves you a lot of time and energy of standing in lines. They'll just see your pictures and see if you fit the part. They'll ask you to audition. If you don't fit, so it's fine. Waise. That being said, I think personally, when I moved back to Jamnagar because of lockdown, I had a lot of time to myself, and I could focus in a sense that I could actually decide that, okay, oh my god, I need to focus and put my efforts in a specific direction rather than just, being all haywire or all over the place. Yeah. But I would also give myself a little break, cut myself some slack, because I was in college. Like, what would a college child know anyway? I was studying, and I was also doing like commercial plays, experimental plays, and all of the other jazz which was going on for me apart from my padhai. Okay. But then that lockdown was the time when outside ke natak, everything was band. Even the drama team was not happening. We were not going to college. We were doing online padhai. That's when I realized that, okay, listen, if you want to do screen for the rest of your life, you don't have the time to like waste around. Now is the time you sincerely go and audition only with focused efforts in just one direction. So that's when I started auditioning from home, because self-tapes were happening. Okay.
I remember one instance in lockdown. You
told
me to send my photos for a Netflix, I think, yeah.
Oh yeah, oh god, oh my god. Yeah. That was like an internship gig.
Okay.
It's so ancient it feels now.
Yeah.
I think a couple of us college friends were interning for this casting agency.
Okay.
For free, obviously. And we were pitching people to like, "Okay, isme you should." Oh God. But yeah, what was I up to, bro?
I don't know. I was
I was up to
because
something.
of lockdown. You told me to go for a clean shave. I was
I'm sorry.
yeah, because of that I had to do that.
Oh,
I was
I'm
looking
sorry.
chubby because of lockdown and stupid for the whole lockdown just because of you.
I'm sorry, bro. Also,
I'll put a photo here in the podcast and blame it on you.
bro, I'm really sorry. Also, that's not something we continued for longer run. So it's also like a tiny speck in the whole season of that lockdown.
I was a
You were
victim.
you were the victim. I'm sorry.
That's why.
Everyone grew their beards and you clean shaved it. Crazy. So anyway, as I was saying, I used to send self-tapes from home. I started getting work in Gujarati. So that initial high was, oh, I bagged a role in Gujarati. I'm so happy. I was doing couple of supporting roles were happening for me, but nothing in lead was happening. So that high was still left. So I was chasing that high. I was like, oh, I want to do a lead now in Gujarati. I got a lead also in Gujarati, 2 or 3 of them actually, because 2 shows. One was Tari Mari Mulakato. One was another show that we have shot, but it has not aired yet, which was a very nice show again. It was called Blue Tick. I hope they air it soon. And then there was Ram Bharose happening. So basically, I was also doing work in lead. So you know that high got over, I think, for me. Now that I think back or look back, then I was chasing something, but I was not. In a sense that first the hustle was about auditioning. Second, about getting work. Then the hustle was about, then I was doing supporting roles. So I was just like coping up with, oh, this is how the shots are taken. Okay, this is the lingo that they use. Like, you know, the jargons that they use.
Yeah.
You're learning everything, meeting new people. All of that is happening for you. Then you realize that, oh shit, okay, I'm meeting new people. I'm working on different sets. But okay, wait, I have not ukhadoed in life. I'm still doing supporting only. I'm still the paid in the background. I need to I need to level up. So then I was pursuing leads. I think in the process of it, I got burnt out, or maybe there was a personal loss that I was coping up with. I do not know what happened exactly, but I specifically remember being derailed from what I had thought of my career, for my career, from 2023 ka summer to like very recently, Diwali of 2024.
Okay.
This is a recent realization I've come across, because I was like, shit, I was so disoriented, or I was so out of focus, you know, because maybe if I was in, so that was the time, because you asked me to take you through the auditioning process or life of an actor in Bombay. I should also bring this to you that what life I lived was what pre-lockdown I told you. Post-lockdown was the time when I had moved to Gujarat, okay. And then there was a time that I moved to Bombay and started living in a PG. I still do live there. But that was also the time that I was actively working in Gujarat. So during the year, there were hardly 2 months I would be in Bombay, and the rest of the 10 months I was in Gujarat, okay. So I had a very on and off experience of Bombay. And then when the time came when I was actually spending time in Bombay, I really felt that I did not make a good use of it, in a sense that, okay, maybe for people I was like, okay, she's doing so good and all of that. But if I have to answer myself, maybe I was not 100% working to the 100% of my potential. Okay. So maybe I could have worked on myself better. Maybe I could have worked on my body. Maybe I could have worked on making connections in Hindi, or making, you know, getting familiar with the work done in that language, or getting familiar with the language itself, although we all speak Hindi, but still.
Yeah.
Which I am doing now. I'm actively pursuing it, how I used to back in the day during 2021, 2022, all of that. But that 1 year, I kind of regret losing out on. I did not lose it. I had releases that year. I did work that year. But all of that was happening somewhere in autopilot. And the efforts that were coming were majorly autopilot by default.
Okay.
They were not active or focused efforts. When you know you have like set personal goals that okay, I want to do this correctly for myself, only then matlab, I know this is going to be like a ladder for Hindi. I did not have that focus, is what I felt. And now that I have gone back after Diwali to Hindi, like to Bombay, I think I'm working on some things also. Maybe I won't be able to declare it right now because of NDA. I told you, na? Edit this out.
Maybe off camera.
So, but now I feel I'm coming into my own. Now that I've gone back, I realize okay. So this year I had a very amazing experience. I had been meaning to do this since the longest. Somehow I was not able to. Wanted to attend Mami Fest, and I think that was a really good place that got me going in terms of meeting new filmmakers, meeting filmmakers who are working on indie level right now, but you for a fact know that they are like the future of Hindi, maybe, or maybe even just meeting like-minded cinephiles, so to speak.
Yeah.
So yeah, Bombay is a great place, provided that you do not get caught up in your own head, be it your personal life or be it just the way Bombay is. Because I think as an actor or even as an artist in general, like maybe if you're a writer, you are a director, whatever it is, complacency can kick in anytime, and you just have to be mindful to be constantly on your toes. You can't be complacent, and it's a field, yaar. You can't blame also. Matlab the thing is, na, we are not forced to wake up every morning at 9, go to the office and be back by 5. We have to wake ourselves up at 8 and put ourselves to work by 9 and make sure that we work between 9 to 5. Be it even on days when I'm not shooting, I have to be mindful ki chalo, I am doing something that day that is putting me, one step at a time ahead in life. It could be working on myself. But the thing over here is that I have to wake myself up. It's not my job waking me up,
Yeah.
It's an unpaid thingy. So you have to you have to remind yourself that listen, I need to do this every day.
Push yourself.
Yeah. Otherwise, complacent, it's very easy to be complacent, or it's very easy for
Derail yourself.
derailing is very easy, I think, in the city.
Yeah.
It's very human to happen, I would say. It's very human.
Yeah.
But we have to be mindful also.
And match the pace of Mumbai. I feel like some cities are very fast. Everyone is running around. Someone will overtake you at some point. So you need to push yourself.
Yeah.
Maybe.
I have a different take on it.
Okay.
I feel I do not, I think that's true. Again, see, I'm a very simple person that way. I can't deal with too much of complexities. I try to steer away from comparisons in terms of what other actors are doing at my age.
Okay.
Because otherwise I would be like a crumbling ball of depression if I see what other 24-year-olds are doing. I'd be like, oh shit, this person has photoed in life. I have not done anything. All of that will happen. Same goes with the pace of Bombay. You do you.
Okay.
Just have things clear in your head as to what I want to achieve in the day. Then the pace of the city won't matter to you. As far as you just know what you want to do.
Right.
Then the city also won't be that pacey for you.
Okay.
You will also schedule your timings in a way. You will also make use of your day. You will also utilize your day accordingly.
Right.
What do you feel? You've lived in London, na?
Yeah. So London and Mumbai, I feel, are very fast. I like the pace, to be honest. I don't like.
Same,
Yeah.
actually.
So that pushes me.
Yeah, for sure.
I don't feel like if someone overtakes me, I need to overtake them.
Oh, you
have-
compare yourself, okay.
Not compare. I like to be competitive. So that completely.
yeah.
See, you need to wake up. I have that in mind that someone will overtake you. Not XYZ person, but someone will.
Okay.
So that pushes me automatically.
Okay.
And I don't need to push myself.
Okay, so it's like an extrinsic motivation that's there.
yeah.
Okay.
So that helps me a lot.
Oh, okay, interesting.
Yeah. I cannot be that productive being in a slow or a medium paced city.
I agree. Yeah.
I have afternoon naps here.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I don't think that is a better option for me. That's what I feel.
Okay. I totally get that,
Yeah.
especially for my career path that I've chosen. Maybe Bombay is the place to be because in Jamnagar I do not see myself working the way I would be. Well, opportunities are also better, exposure is also better.
Yeah.
Movies get screened over there. Here we don't get screens.
Yeah.
And I want to watch them. But anyway, yeah, I get what you're saying, but yeah, I think my motivation is intrinsic in a way that my ambition drives me. The fear of someone overtaking me doesn't drive me, but I'm competitive also. Now, I don't know how to explain it to you,
Yeah.
but I'm never in competition. Does that make sense?
No. No, no. It does. For me, it is ambition and uh, people. Not. It's not the fear. It's like I want to be at the top. That's what I feel.
That's what drives you, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. But
Same.
not the fear. I wouldn't call it fear.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah.
But then
Okay.
what would you call the feeling where you were telling that, okay, if I do not do this, someone else will get ahead of me? How would you describe?
It's like being at the. I don't know. It's not a feeling. It's like being obsessed with being at the top.
Okay. Okay.
Paraphrased it. But yeah. Learning from you. Nothing else.
Okay. I'm not paraphrasing stuff, but okay. But yeah, I really find it difficult to be on track sometimes. So like, I'm assuming you would have a job which requires to be up by 9, work till 5.
Yeah.
You do, right?
I have patience. I cannot compromise it. I need to get up.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
We don't have patients looking forward to us, right?
Yeah.
It's just me and my tripod, or maybe
Yeah.
me and my book
Right.
that's looking at me, but I don't look back at it. Sometimes.
For me, it's a compulsion and discipline. Like, you need much more discipline than me because for me, it's sort of compulsion to get up and reach the hospital.
I think the lack of compulsion is what makes the discipline more difficult.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's no certain person waiting for you. There's no certain thing. No, people are not waiting for you types.
Right.
You know?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So you have to just lift yourself up. It's just that. So
Yeah.
I'm struggling with that. But I'm better off than what I was in 2023. For sure.
Great. It takes an emotional toll, I feel, being in the industry and, constantly pushing yourself and have that self discipline. But yeah, I feel it was great talking to you. I absorbed a lot and learned from you. Thank you so much for being here, being on the podcast.
As it seems we are heading towards the end of the podcast and it's my cue to speak. Yes. Again, lovely chatting with you. I think we spoke of things I would have never imagined to speak to, like, at least with...
I'm a good host.
He thinks so. Let him be. It's his first episode. No, but lovely chatting with you, and I'm glad that we could touch on topics which I think were nice. What do you think?
Yeah.
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 Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you.